it's Cassie Oelberg in Selinsgrove, Pennsylvania, and we are here to do the fourth sketch from the June virtual crop. Super excited. If you have not done the virtual crop, make sure you join the Creative Memories virtual crop group, where every month they give us at least 4 sketches of beautiful pages that we can do. And then I build them on Fast to Fab pages. I do it once during virtual crop, and then I turn around and I do it once on my YouTube channel. So I will show you 2 different versions, building on Fast to Fab pages and how I make it work. And I also teach some little tips and tricks along the way. So we're going to talk a little bit about organizing all those scraps and using them up is one of our topics of conversation. So let's head on over to the desktop where all the fun happens. Okay, here we go. This is sketch 4 from the virtual crop. And as you can see, they gave us this fun layout. There was a title and box there. I kept that, but I thought that was a lot of writing. I don't do that much writing, so I added a picture in here. I felt like this was a lot of borders going on, so I used this geometric gemstones, which I loved, and I cut it down the side, and I put the extra one over here to the right. I went ahead and made these pictures a little bit bigger just because that's what worked for me. And then over here, I kept this side pretty much the same. I did add this one border in. So as you can see, it's very, very simple to do a virtual crop sketch and mix it up to be the way you want it to be. So let's go ahead and do it again on other pages. So this was a page that I went ahead and I covered up. Sometimes I need to switch to the next thing. And I already had this going on over here. So I went ahead and switched this one up. So sometimes I do that by adding just a total piece of paper. But this next one is not that way. So this next one that we're going to do, get my notes so I don't forget anything. We're going to build on this page, and we're going to just cover up this little bit, and then over here we're going to cover up the whole page because sometimes it works for you, sometimes it doesn't. The thing to remember is that Fast to Fab pages are only $3 more than regular white pages. So if you use even 3 sheets of paper in the entire pack of pages, then it was worth it. So it's really smart to try your hand at Fast to Fab pages. So I'm just going to go ahead and tape this one down on the left. You're going to build on something anyway, right? Why not make it be something that was $3 for 32 sheets of it, right? That's just crazy talk right there. Okay, now over on this side, I'm like, what did I do with that trimmer? And I hit it up there. Hit it for myself. Okay, so over on this side, what I want to do is I want to cover this up. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to measure up. And so this is about 4.5 inches to the top. And I can just look right here. It's about 10 inches over. So I'm just going to overshoot it a little bit so that I don't have to worry that it's going to wiggle at all and end up with it not covering all of it, because see how that goes like this? That's what I'm talking about when I say wiggle it all, and not cover it all the way up. So we're just going to go ahead and do 5 by 10.5, because that's bigger than 4.5 by 10. And now we're just going to cut it into a nice triangle. And if you want to, you can pull out your little corner things and make sure that you're getting it right on the corner. But this is just a cover up, so it's really not that big of a deal. And look how that's going to go over top of that. And so we got to use a little bit of paper instead of a whole nother second sheet of paper over here. And that's going to come in handy later whenever we want to do mats and things. Have you used this jumbo trimmer yet? Oh my gosh, I love it. You don't have to keep stopping and refilling, and so it's perfect for all of the bigger things that you need to tape. Now, I would not give up my repositionable tape and my nice handy dandy little tape runner. So I just need all the stuff. I need all the stuff. Oh my gosh, I'm crazy. Okay, so now we're going to come over here and look at this and see what we need to do. So we're going to do these inside pieces first. So that is the 1 1/4 by 11 3/4. So I have some paper already pulled, but I'm just going to show you what I do in my folder. So I work with a collection a lot. I love to work with a collection. I have everything all in one spot. I can throw scraps in there. I can throw stickers in there. I can throw the mats. I can throw the embellishments. And then in here, I have all my big sheets of paper. But then I also, look at this. This is inside of my power folder, my power project folder, because then I can throw smaller pieces in here and then have the bigger pieces there. And I know what I have to work with. And when I'm really getting into scrapbooking, I make a complete and total mess. So I pull everything out of the folder and I spread it out all over my table so I know what I have to work with. And I just kind of go a little crazy with all of it. And then whenever I'm done, I just pull it all back together and it goes into one spot. And I put it right with the project I'm working on. And oh my goodness, I just save so much time and energy and so much money by having it all together like that. So if you have not done that, you might want to think about it. So we're doing this inside piece. It goes right in here. And it's going to be 2 1 1/4 inch pieces. And remember, when you're doing a smaller measurement, it's good to measure all the way up and all the way down. And that's just simply because if you are off by a little tiny bit, because maybe you don't have it up against the top quite right, then on a smaller piece, it's going to show up a lot better than on a bigger piece. And when it's dotted like this, it's going to show up really bad because think about it. There's dots that show you what the lines should do. And so if it's not doing what it should do, then you're going to be sad. Okay. So we're going to cut this off here. This little tiny piece. This, I'd probably throw that away. That's small enough that I'd throw away. But I keep most of the collection until all the way till I'm all done because you can use a lot of those little pieces for extra little things, right? So let's go ahead and put this down so it's out of our way and I don't lose it because, you know, I'm kind of prone to that. And I'm going to go all the way to the inside and just leave that little bit top and bottom. So fun. I did a good job with this sketch. It's got a lot of fun stuff going on. I had to mix it up just a tiny bit because I did feel like it had, too many borders going on. So, I'll show you when we get to that point. Okay, so now we have that down. Now we're going to do these 2 outside pieces. And we need them to be 3 by 11 3/4. And I'm going to go ahead and do something fun with that. So I'm going to use this. I just think this paper is so fun, but you can't use like a whole bunch of it, right? Because that would just be a little bit crazy. So I need 2 3-inch slices. Strips. Those are strips. But you slice it to get to the strips. So I can say slices, right? I can say whatever I want to say. It's my YouTube channel. Okay. So then I'm going to turn it on its side and do 11 3/4 again. I like the greens up here. I'm flipping it. When I'm cutting the paper, I always just look at what I think is most interesting about the piece of paper. And sometimes I'm like right ready to cut and I'm like, oh, wait, I like that. And I switch it a little. So, okay. So we've got that on both sides. And now we're going to go ahead and put these off to the 2 sides. So this one's going to go like this. Just leave that little border all the way around. Oh, I love that. So nice. Okay, on the other side, I do similarly. This noteworthy collection, I'm going to be so sad when it's gone. I mean, I know they'll come out with something else that I love just as much, blah, blah, blah. But I really, really love it. Okay, so now we've done those parts. And we need some borders. Now, I think I'm going to go ahead and add my pictures first because sometimes I switch up how I want to do my borders based on my pictures. So I'm going to use, this one is going to go up here. I'm going to probably trim that one a little bit. And these 3 are going to go right down here. So let's go ahead and get out the photo trimmer. So it says to use 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 photos. Now I think I can make that work. So 3 1/4 this way. It's going to go right there. And I love the flap. And then 3 1/4 this way. I'm going to take a little off the top. Maybe a little bit more. And then I'm going to measure the other direction. 3 1/4. And then same thing here. I'm going to go ahead and take this part off first. I just want an interesting part of these barley bags. So doesn't matter which part as long as I'm happy with the part. And then over here, I want to get all these jars. I just thought that was so cool. So let's see, 3 1/4. Take a little bit off this side first. Just a tiny sliver. 3 1/4 over here. And then, and I have something else that has that fine in it that I'm going to use somewhere else, so I didn't feel bad about cutting that off. But look at how fun that is, okay? Now we're going to make some mats. So again, I throw everything in one of these simple sleeves. I love that I can open like this. I do throw all my browns together, and I know I'm going to need more brown than I have, so I want to make sure that the scraps that I pull out match it. So I'll just bring over my full sheets so that I know that if I run out, I'm going to have more. I'll use the other brown, the last year's brown. Look, we sound like a fashion agency. Last year's brown. Will stay in there, and I'll use that when I know I don't need as much. So now I need 3 3/4 inch squares for my mat. So let's see if any of this fits that criteria. Oh yeah, looky here. 3 3/4. Okay, nice, nice. And we can take this. And I love using up scraps in my scraps folder. It really makes me happy. And I realized I was always pulling my cardstock out whenever I came online and using full pieces. And I was like, these guys should see how I mean, you probably do the same thing, so it doesn't really matter. But, I should let the world see how I use up the scraps, because sometimes you just need a little reminder that it's possible, right? I love how quickly these come together. And I love that I didn't have to think of the whole idea myself, right? Because we're going to use the sketch. So now we want these on here. This one's going to get lined up at the top. Over like this. And then this one's going to get lined up at the bottom. And then this one's going to get centered between those two. Look how cute. Okay, so then over here we're going to put this, but I need my borders to go down here. So, pull out another scrap here, and I'm going to use the cyclic circle. I love the cyclic circle. Thought they did a great job with that one. And I'm going to punch on top of my piece of cardstock so that I don't get all of my little pieces everywhere. And I want to save those little pieces because I'm going to flip them and use them on the inside. So let's go ahead and make 3 of these. Now, whenever the ones that I have to cut off, what I do is I flip it. I cut the other side, and then I'll come back and do the last one after I snip these off. But then I'm not going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I just feel like it works a lot better. So we'll go ahead and cut this piece off. And since I need 3, if this piece of paper had been smaller, I would have punched 1 and cut it off. and then I would have come back and done the other two because there would have still been more paper connected. But I knew I wasn't going to have a problem with how much paper there was. So let's see, there is about 1/8 of an inch on this side. So we bring this over to the cut line. So we're going to need to do about, I think, 1 1/8 is going to give me my best look. Yep, 1 1/8 it is. And now let's do it again. You hear the rumblies in my tummy. I just remembered that I forgot to eat lunch today. So I may want to do that soon. Okay. So we're going to cut this one. Okay. Now these are going to go down right here, right next to each other. And I could put some more strips in between them if I wanted to, but I just feel like it's a lot if I add anything else to this. Like, that's a lot of borders, and they had another one that went down the side, and I'm a simple girl. I'm a very simple girl. So I'm going to put this one down, and I'm going to go ahead and put it kind of over this way a little bit, and I'm not going to put yet another border down there because that would not bring me joy. That would just feel like too much to me. And that's the joy of a sketch. Like, if you want, oh, look, I have the opportunity to show you how to refill your tape runner. So did you see that? I pulled it apart, and then you make sure that the tape is facing the little thing that keeps it from getting little boogers on there. And then you take the other part and you pop it on. Bam, done. Okay. Anyway, you can take the sketches and you can make them be exactly what you want them to be. So if you want more borders there, nothing wrong with that. Put more borders. If you're like me and that's just too many borders for you, it's okay. I could have narrowed this down to 1 border if I wanted to and not had 3 of them. So it's all up to you what looks good to you. So now I'm going to take, now what I want to do is I want to put these in here. I just think that I like that look. I'm going to do it on every other. I put the tape right into the little hole because it just goes down faster. And every other one, I'm going to pop that in there. And this is just the flip side of the paper, so I didn't have to punch any extra things. And I just think that that adds a little extra touch. I love that about this punch. I was so sad when it sold out so fast and so excited whenever they said, don't worry, we're bringing it back, because this is a must-have punch. So we're going to go all the way up like that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch, and I'm going to do the opposite way, going down. And notice I'm taking and I'm looking at how there's little teeny tiny horizontal lines going through this paper. So it just looks really nice if you, as soon as I say that, I accidentally get it crooked. But it just looks really nice if you line those horizontal lines up so that they're all the same. And I just think this gives it a really precious look. So. And now, one more time. My friend Karen says that sometimes she watches me as a bedtime story. So Either she really likes my voice and that's very sweet, or maybe I'm just boring. I don't know, because I listen to podcasts to fall asleep and I think they're interesting. So I'm going to go with that's a compliment because she's the sweetest person in the world. So I can't imagine she meant it as anything other than that. I just thought it was funny. I was like, so if I'm your bedtime story, you are getting sleepy. Okay, so now we have all those in there. And then I'm going to go ahead and add this in, and I'm going to trim it first because it does not need all this black around it. Oh, I just love how that slices. Way to go, Creative Memories. Okay. And then this is going to go up here. I'm not even going to mat it because it's already got enough going on. And then I need a journal box from down here. And looky here, I didn't even pull it out in advance. I have all of these to choose from. So I'm going to go through. I need a vertical one. I want it to have a spot. Oh, but this is, I like this because it was the good old days. I'm going to need to go with this. I do need a spot to write, but oh, I'm going to make a journal box for the other page. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so this is perfect. I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to mat it. It's going to make it pop a little. So come over here, and this is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. Let's see, yeah, 4 1/2, 3 1/4. So this one's not going to be big enough. I can use this. So I said 3 1/4, so we're going to do 3 1/2. And I said 4 1/2, so we're going to do 4 3/4. I just added a quarter to either dimension. And now this is matted just like the pictures. Okay, so now I'm super happy with this side of the page. Let's see if we can be just as happy with the other side of the page. A lot going on this one, huh? Okay. So now we're going to do, these pictures are going to go like this. And this is going to be a circle. So let's start with the rectangles. And I want to cut those down a little bit. Now it says 5 by 3, but I'm not doing 5 by 3. They're going to be 6. And I'm going to cut a little bit off each one until I'm happy with it. So this one's going to be 3 by 6. This was such a fun night. Miguel had the whole place closed down so that he could bring us through for a tour. I'm not going to mat these pictures because I want to see, I want to keep my baby girl. Look at that. Oh, she's so cute. Okay, so I am not going to mat the pictures. I am going to put the 2 smaller ones here and here and her there. And now I am going to cut this one into a circle. So I'll move that out of our way for now. Bring my circle stuff over. So this was the Yippers Times. They won an award. I want to take this. Oh, wait, no. I want the picture cut down a little more because I want to mat it. Thankfully, I did not move that circle. If I had moved the circle, I would have been SOL. As it is, I got to be careful because look, it's popping up a little. It's going to be okay. I'm going to get through this. Okay. I need to do a little bit of emergency surgery, but for the most part, worked out okay. It's not the order you want to go in, and you want to get the size right the first time around. But if you screw it up, that's how you fix it. Yeah, I did that on purpose just for you. And if you believe that, I have some land and some oceanfront property. show you. Okay. Here we go. Got this one. And pragmatic. Okay, and now I need a journal box. So that means I need another one of these. I have, look at all this I have in here. Decide what size I want the journal box to be, what size lines I want it to be, and go ahead and cut out of here. So I'm going to cut it with the blue, which means I can be a little bit off of the paper. Okay, and then I'm going to cut a journal box. With this red blade. And then last but not, oh, I guess I should tape these down, shouldn't I, guys? I have not taped these pictures down. That might be helpful. I didn't tape that down either. Okay. Now I'm out of pictures to go on this page, on this double page spread. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull out my magic folder here. And I know that there are some circles in here. I'm thinking this brown circle might be nice up here. Oh yeah, I like it. Okay, I'm going to add this in. And voila, double page spread. Build on fast and fab pages, saving time and money. So that was it for today. I hope that you had a good time. I hope you learned something new. And hopefully I will see you again next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Have a great day.